kind of like how Macca's too. Like you see the big M and Macca's, and all of a sudden you just taste a cheeseburger in your mouth. But they make sure they put it, nice and high, so you can see it from a mile away. So and there's one in every bloody corner now. But that just tells people, all right, there's Macca's there. Well, I think that goes well into the next part, which is, building relationships with the right people in an industry that you're in. And I've learned this too firsthand. So a lot of the relationships I found that I built, lead, to that success. It's very hard to join your own, especially if you're new in the industry. So I think that's important to touch on. So like, can you explain like how, the relationship you've managed to build in the industry, have helped you towards the success that you've had?
Yeah, and it doesn't come without lessons learned. Yeah, like for me, early on, and like a lot of people would, like tag giveaways and those sorts of things. And this is for me, for everyone. Like I'm happy to support everyone in what they do, but the one thing that I don't like is leveraging off other audiences, other communities to try and boost your own. Without building a relationship first. So it's no secret, like Adam and I, or Savvy Trainer and I, are really good mates, and it's taken a long time to get to that point. Our communities get along like really well, and I think in TikTok we'd probably have one of the best relationships between streams. We share a lot of information, we share a lot of ideas, we do a lot of things together. We have our little tallies for mangas pulled from One Piece, for example. We have our battle days, which are like well received and something different to what others sort of do. I think the biggest thing for me in building relationships within TikTok is like knowing who you're working with and know pretty much who you shouldn't be working with. And that from the start I was like, I want to work with everyone and be really good mates with everyone, and there'd be some people that would take you for a little bit of a ride, and it's like recognizing that early. But there's a lot of great content creators and a lot of new great content creators that are in TikTok, a lot of new breakers and everything else. And certainly if like going through TikTok bans or being bananaed, I shouldn't say that word, um, that are going through those little intricacies that are very hard to navigate. Like I'm always in it. People can reach me, and helping people through that, and either through past experiences for other breakers that have had those issues, me contacting my manager and then helping them get part of the creator program, which will then help them go from there.
Yeah.
But definitely building strong and good relationships with people, working with the people that resonate well with you, and share similar sort of communities and interests is a big one. And certainly outside of it, like for supplier, as like working with someone that you work well with. Like when we first met, I think it was like a phone call in January. I think it was just after Paladin Fates, or just before
Yeah.
Paladin Fates released, and that first conversation, and then we talk to each other every day on the phone, get those ideas and whatnot of like how to improve yourself and improve stream and other things that are coming up essentially. So, but building
Yeah.
relationships is just so important because you want people to be able to talk to in certain instances when you need their advice, and then knowing who to talk to at which time, which is another really important part. So there'll be some people that are just see the way that they do business, and I don't really agree with it. But yeah, you kind of get that idea as you work more and more with them, get to know them a little bit
Yeah.
better, not just from like a business center point of view, but like outside of a business point of view as well, and how that
Yeah.
works. So
I definitely think that it's a lot easier when you have the right people around you rather than trying to do everything yourself. You're going to learn that the hard way if you think you can, but no, definitely something to keep in mind when you're trying to build. And I just found like just a little thing that I want to mention, like, when I provide some sort of value, like people want to be a part of it. So I found that's a really like good thing to sort of work on there. And even like living by giving more than I take, I'm pretty big on giving back. So I think that really helps push people along and just shows that, you're not all about just, taking from everyone and just kind of, how can I say, like, it doesn't even have to be in a money sense, you know, like just even doing things, you know, for people in the community, just little gestures, you know, go a long way. So I think that's really important as well.
Absolutely. Nothing's not, or not everything's all related to money. And if you see someone that's like that, then I'm just like, well, I'm not gonna talk to you. Like, first conversation
Yeah.
was like, you asked a lot of questions and you were interested in what I was doing, and you still, well, I think you're still interested, obviously with
Yeah.
the interview today, but
Yeah.
those sorts
No,
of
I love
things. And
to
same
chat.
with other people, like and that's, it comes to like building the community as well, right? Building relationships within the community, building relationships with the moderators, and everything else. Like, it works like both ways. They never expect anything, or I never expect anything back. Like, for good gestures, I can do that for you, but I'm not expecting
Yeah.
like anything like monetary or otherwise to come back to me. Like, I'd rather, if I have bulk here, I'd rather just give the bulk away. I'm not going to resell donated bulk or anything like that. And there's
Yeah.
little things that just, help build relationships, and I don't, I'm not, what is it? Incoincidentally, like, helping you at the same time as well, like how that can help you like long term. And you never know when you might need something from someone, or might need a favor from someone, and they'll come back
Yeah.
and help you out. So
Be more willing for sure.
that's right. Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, building those good relationships. Some people just dive into the nitty gritty like straight away. Like, same with
Yeah.
suppliers and whatnot. It's kind of like it's like a taboo subject, but not really. Like, people like out of the blue, like someone that just started fresh start streamer, messaged me, first message, not "how you going, mate? Hope you're doing well. Love your content." If they do like my content, but those
Yeah.
little the small chat start, and then go into the other stuff, build a relationship first. It'll be like, who's your supplier? How do you get your English stock? Like, I'm sorry, like, who are you? And why are you messaging
Yeah.
me in TikTok Messenger? Like, those little things that the people just expect you to give the information away. Like, it's no secret, I tell chat all the time. Like, I get my stuff from Banter. Like, that's direct from Banter to
Yeah.
here. Sometimes
Yeah.
Kmart, sometimes Target, sometimes Costco if there's 151 UPC. But those,
Yeah.
those little
Probably.
things that people just come in and just like, oh yeah, where'd you get it? Or, where'd you get your Japanese stock? I'm like, oh yeah, I got my Japanese stock from Kmart. Or you witnessed it with the Jungle Box. Where'd you get your Jungle Box from? Like,
Yeah.
Kmart. They come in chat the next day,
Standing
like, oh, I
there.
went to Kmart.
Everyone's looking at Kmart for jungle boxes. Gee.
Those little things that, people will just come into your DMs and be like, where'd you get it? Just expect you just to hand
Yeah.
everything over on a silver plate. I'm more than happy to help anyone, but like, if you come approach it in that way and not try and get to know me first.
Yeah. There's a right and a wrong way, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So, where it might be a different story for you, because you handle a lot of that, and that's well, not where you get your stock from, but order it from you. So,
Easy, easy. Well, I think we'll touch on. I think this is the most like important thing if someone's going to start as well, and I think that's building your brand and also building that reputation at the start is extremely important. You know, that can go from anywhere from obviously doing the right thing and packing orders right and making sure you respond to questions. So, you want to tell us a bit about how you built the Dallyrips brand, and what sort of advice could you give to people there, starting out in that sense?
yeah. Tom said Skittles. Make sure
Yeah.
everyone gets Skittles, not like Haribo Bears or.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah, I was saying eating sausages. The brand from the start was very much, again, like, this is probably some of the things that go back to where we started. It's like going back to telling myself not to take that so much of that scattergun approach, where I think you refine what your brand is like over time. Like, my brand for me over the last like couple of months has been like, wear a hat for One Piece, and every time I pull the manga, we'll take the hat off, go into a new hat. Those little things. Someone pulled a Mickey, and like, we'll probably move away from that side of things now. But it's like the content that I post with like how that's branded and how that's edited will probably all be the same from now on, for example. And since using like Canva, having your thumbnails on your videos and making that all the same, as such, maybe like change like little things around that. But it's probably like one thing that I've learnt from working in local government is like brands and what makes what makes the brand you, for example. So, and the example that I use for branding is like Bunnings Warehouse. When you go to Bunnings Warehouse, what do you think? Industrial shelves, the piece of paper that's got a
Thanks at the
big
front.
text that's written on it with the codes. When you get the pamphlet for Bunnings, it's not like color gloss. It's like newspaper snags for sure. Yeah, can't forget the snags. But it's like
Yeah.
the newspaper type thing that's like it looks like a sketch drawing. It's nothing special, but if you see that, you say that's Bunnings.
I think it's the logo, the colors and stuff like that, like that's he's constantly putting that out to everyone to recognize, all right, well that's Dallyrips because I can see, the blues or, his logo there. I think that's, the biggest thing that I found, like keep putting the same sort of things in front of people so they can automatically see because people scroll, flat out all day, yeah, like that's all they're doing. So like what's gonna make them stop? And if they see that, all right, that's Dallyrips branding, then they might stop and say, all right, I'm interested in this. I think that's sort of a big thing to point on. Yeah.
100%. Same with the website. The website's the same as like I've
Yeah.
intentionally used those blues throughout the like blue is the color, not like the specific blue that I use for my logo, which is slightly different, and not from
Yeah.
the blue from the banner of my website, but it's all like a shade of blue. So
Yeah.
now I'm kind of like in a comfortable stage. Like why I went from just having the photos up, squared, like boring, didn't like it, didn't really catch people's eyes. There's
Yeah.
advice from you, but like making things a bit more recognizable. Went through the blue borders, and then again, I was like, okay, I like it, but it's not really where I wanted to take the brand per se. So now it's gone from that to then having the product and then the big hits behind the product. So one that helps
Nice
me
one.
in
Yeah.
managing questions like what hits can I get from this set? Like, all right, well, if I open Obsidian Flames, then I know there's two Charizards that are there. No, if I open Type
Yeah.
Masquerade, the Greninja's there. Oh, if I know Pade Evolved, then your Magikarp or Iono. But it's been a huge part, even like with the videos that I'm doing now, it's like the things that I touched on before, like the audio hook and then the visual hook. So the visual hook is just like the title. Went through a bit of a play stage through like CapCut of using different titles, but I think I'm now more comfortable with just basic text, like straight there, like this is what's happening in the video. So Charizard error, like that's the visual hook. Then the audio hook, the audio for the voiceovers, I always use like one. Well, I try and always use one voiceover. Sometimes that voiceover doesn't work with certain words that are said, and you have to kind of work out your text to speech. But Jesse is the one that will do basically all of my voiceovers for the rest of my videos as such.
Yeah.
So those little things when you're scrolling past, and as Kevin said, branded recognition is very important. They're like, okay, if someone's scrolling through TikTok and they hear Jesse and they see that hook, that visual hook in like
Yeah.
Charizard Error or something there, then they'll know it's
Yeah.
me. And then if they recognize it, so the same
Yeah.
people like your videos, they can like it and not follow. So like followership is obviously an important part of it. But if they just like it, don't follow, then they don't know when you're live or anything like that. But if they
Exactly.
see
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
recognize a brand come through a few times, like, oh, okay, well, I've seen a
Yeah.
couple of videos of Dolly. Now I want to follow him because obviously I've liked a lot of his videos and become like one of the suggested followed accounts
Yeah.
as such.
Exactly.
So it's making
Yeah.
it the brand recognition there, and then it also adds that level of professionality. There's a word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a bit more
Make it one.
professional in the way that it's set up, not just like a well, Bunnings have done really well in their side of things. Whilst if you see it in any other context, you probably know it's not really that doesn't scream to me the biggest warehouse in Australia. So
It's kind of like how Macca's too. Like you see the big M and Macca's, and all of a sudden you just taste a cheeseburger in your mouth. But they make sure they put it, nice and high, so you can see it from a mile away. So and there's one in every bloody corner now. But that just tells people, all right, there's Macca's there. So branding is a huge thing. But let's get into community too, because that's obviously another big thing. We've touched on it a little bit, but just for everyone out there just starting, like how did you build your community? What platform did you use? Just give us a bit of a quick run through of that.
Jeez, the community was basically very organic through TikTok. So that's basically where it started and where it is at the moment. Like I've diversified somewhat to like Instagram and somewhat to YouTube, but YouTube is a lot different to Insta or TikTok. I think TikTok and Instagram sort of relate to each other a little bit more in terms of the music that you play, how it gets pushed through the FYP and everything like that. Where if you put anything on YouTube, if you have no music, it's fine. But if you have any music, it's just like, nah, we're not pushing it. We're not doing anything. And I found like I've had more followers and more people that come to the community from like Instagram, but the the bulk or the foundation of the community has been built from TikTok and getting to know people through each of the lives, and then that foundation of the community. Whilst I play a part of it, I think the foundation plays the bigger part of it. If you have a good foundation and a good community, and a community that resonates with you and your content and what you're doing, that's going to be tenfold to anything else. If you have a very fragile foundation, and that foundation is just like at any point in time just going to collapse, and it's going to be an absolute disaster for you. So from the get go, I think I was like, I would say I'm lucky in a sense. I've attracted some like really good people into the community, especially the moderators. The moderators play a huge part in anyone's community. I think this is another lesson learnt from me, is like taking your time in appointing your moderators as well, not just appointing based on, money
Yeah.
spent, time being in there, what they actually do for you and everything else. And, everyone plays a different part in that as well. So whilst some people might just go like straight to it, like point someone as a moderator, but that person could be, not for your community, or there for a little bit more of a discount, or certain things, whichever. So
Yeah.
appointing the right people in those positions, because they're not only have the brand for themselves, but they're obviously representing your brand as well. So you want to make sure that they're
Yes.
good people, and with that strong foundation then comes more people. So like when it comes to things that I miss in chat. Like I ignore comments all the time. Not really.
Yeah.
I try not to, but when there's comments that are missed, and through TikTok Studio you can't pin comments, and I can't see the pin comments. We can still pin them. Everyone else can see them, but I can't, because on the commentary it just goes like, it just drop down. There's no like top comment to say this is what's been pinned. So then being answering the questions and being able to do that sort of as well, and then again, like I was saying before, is like being one to stamp out the any comments or any toxicity that goes against your values or your brand per se. So it's like
Yep.
condescending, or being taking the experience away from anyone else, is just like, well, all right, we just need to manage that one basically as soon as possible. So without the community, there's no live. If you don't have a community, you just don't have a live. So
So from the outside in, I guess I see like this is what everyone does in the nutshell from what I see, just looking at it. So you're basically using these other platforms to funnel, and then but your main community outside of when you're live is Discord. So can you just like quickly run through that? So like for someone new getting into it and wants to build a community, obviously people can only interact when you're live in that instance, but once you're offline, then that sort of goes away. So filtering, those your core community into something like Discord is obviously, key to having them being able to interact, outside of the live. So just quickly touch on that if you can.
yeah, Discord, yeah, like you said, it's pretty important, and it's like the probably the only place that people will be able to get information outside of lives, as well as to like how you're going to push your message of stream schedules and stock updates, and this is what we're doing for the night, and those special events as such. And it's taken a long time to build, and a lot of refining what Discord looks like and everything else. And I can't take any of the credit really. That's all to Yaya. Yaya's done basically everything that from head to toe on that. I think may have changed the color of the different roles maybe once or twice, but outside of that, I've
Really?
not done a lot. So obviously, it goes without saying, is probably wouldn't have Discord to where it is at the moment without Yaya doing the bulk of that work for us, which I'm very appreciative. Thank you, Yaya. Um, but it's like it is very important, and it's like comes down again to like moderation of your Discord channel as well, because you have certain channels there like buy sell swap the sell, very very simply need little things. You need to put the price in it because we don't want anyone to, one, be absolutely ripped off, or two,
Yeah.
get cooked based on a sale that they thought there was this card and it's not. And, without providing
Yeah.
pictures and whatnot, there's moderation, those things that come with it. But it
Definitely.
just gives another space for the community to grow. And then
Yeah.
the bigger the community on Discord, the more people that you're reaching outside of your lives as well. And you probably feel the
Yeah.
same, like with your Facebook page. It's just
Yeah.
a space where you can give information to a lot of people without having to go
Yeah.
to each individual. So it's just like that little hub that's just going to make it
Yeah.
very big. I think we're just shy of 450 people in there at the moment. Starting to do
Nice.
interactive Discord giveaways where give away a booster box like once a week, and those little things. It
Yeah.
don't have to be something huge. It can be just like a single card that you've pulled that you don't want and you don't particularly feel like selling, but you want to give it away to someone within the community. It's just like those
Yeah.
little give backs, and then it gives them another
Yeah.
platform to reach out to you if they need anything as well, rather than having to go through like email. It's
Yeah.
just the point of ease of people reaching out and coming to you, and then you can give information out to as bulk people, especially when it comes to PSA grading and BGS.
Well, what do you see? Like people make the common mistakes they make that, when they're starting off, or possibly that you made at the start that you could sort of, if you could go back, you wish you knew back then.
Mm. Well, common mistakes that I see a lot. There's a lot of people, I think, a lot of things that I know that, go live and basically just post all the information like on their screen, as in, here's how you make payments. This is the shipping, like from everything. It's just not, and this sort of like, it maybe it work in some instances, but from all instances, you look at what's worked over in like the US, and the US has done it for a very, very, very long time, a lot longer than us. There's breakers over there that have been doing it for 4, 5+ years. I think the longest that someone's done it here in Oz is probably like 2+ years. A lot of people starting to peg it into the like 1+ year, and businesses that run into the year or longer have like considered quite somewhat successful. But I think it's like that setup is so important at the start, and so we're talking about like reputational, your reputation, what your brand is, and everything else. If you start a live, you're on your phone and you have your like pay ID details up on there, and then have all the information of like, this is the products to sell. It screams to me illegitimacy of what someone else is doing, and someone else, other people that I've seen that have done well, that have just started, and it'll just be like, okay, well, they've got a link to the website, they've got a link tree, in the bottom of the website, they've got the ABN, like everything is like legitimate. So I think
Yeah.
that to me is like a big mistake, because that's going to detract. Whilst you probably get like orders and people that order from you, and you bypass all of like the paperwork side of things, long term, it's probably not going to be a thing that's going to work out really well for someone, and it's going to be really hard to like backstep and then change that, because if your community is used to one thing, then they're going to just be used to that for the rest of the time. So people
Yeah.
use that, and then looking at third party payment systems, like if you have those things available, and it's great, but it's like advertising certain things like Afterpay, which you cop a massive fee for
Yeah.
when people use it, those sorts of things. So if you have it available, that's fine. Like I personally have it all available, but I don't, like, it's not the first thing that pops up on the website. Afterpay available, or PayPal available, paying for available, those sorts of things. But give them options without directing them directly. So that's probably like one of the biggest mistakes that I've seen. And then for me personally, lessons learnt from when I started is like making your content authentic and making it yours, whilst taking like certain ideas but making it your own. For example, I think there was a couple of things that I used when I started, which was probably like I wouldn't do now, if that makes sense. So like Lucky Dips, those sorts of things, there was someone else that was doing it. It was pretty much exactly the
Yeah.
same. I just wouldn't do that. I would just come up with ideas, and you eventually come up with things on your own and then make it your own. But this is like the authenticity of making it yours. For example, there's going to be so many ideas out there that have been floated by so many different other breakers that it would be very hard to be the first and only person that's ever done this and then not expect someone else to do it. which will then probably go into the next lesson learned is like, if other people are doing what you're doing, take that as a form of flattery, not a form of offense.
Yeah,
If people
100%.
have the same setup, if they set up the same as me, then that's great. That means they think what I'm doing is a good thing. And if they want to
Yeah,
replicate what I'm doing, then to me that's more of a compliment now. And I had the same thing
yeah,
with people doing giveaways, or the breakers doing giveaways, and you get the comments like at Dallyrips in someone else's break, or if someone comments on one of my giveaways and comments someone else's, like at anyone, any other breaker in my comments, I'll take that as a form of like, okay, well, they're trying to push more people or whichever. Just take the ego out of it. Just like, okay, cool, they've tagged me in it. So what? Go with it. That's fine. Like, don't have
yeah.
to take any offense or think that people are doing something, and we can't control everyone, and take what you can control and make it better, rather than trying to control everything else that everyone else is trying to do, and the uncontrollables, which comes with everything in
Oh, yeah.
life.
Well, yeah,
But
like what if you're successful, like that's probably the easiest, way to replicate that is to copy, who's leading or who's doing really well for themselves. So again, I think that's a really smart thing to do. But again, like making it your own, can only sort of, copy so much before like make little tweaks. And again, it comes back to your branding or like, the way you want to perceive yourself or whatever, or other people to perceive you, sorry. Like just putting your twist on that. But I think the core foundation, you can, copy what is already successful is a smart thing to do, in my opinion. So definitely don't get offended. Like yeah, it is a form of flattery. So uh,
it
let's
is, yeah.
let's get into just the day to day, of a full time breaker, because everyone sees, what you do on stream, but no one really sees what happens, off camera. So just so people got a better idea of, other work that's involved, do you want to just take us through that quickly?
Yeah, so, oh, geez, where do we start? Mainly the kids. The kids is the first thing in the morning. Obviously, getting them shipped off to daycare and to school. So Nala's year three, Ryan's last year daycare for his kindy next year. Frothy teas, yes, girl. um, so day to day operations, we basically drop them off, and what I'm starting to do now at the start of the week is trying to do, well, on a Sunday, is to try and edit as many videos as I can and schedule those videos throughout the week. So like I don't have to worry about it. It's like set and done. Um, but that'd be like one of the days. The Sundays or the Saturdays, depending on what day I finish up streaming, we'll basically be doing all the shipping side of things. So getting everyone's details added into Ozpost, which now Sam's doing. Um, Packing people's orders, responding to emails or responding to direct messages, remembering something that I've forgotten to do throughout the week. But
Yeah,
using today as an example, today's usually my day off. Obviously, I started off have a bit of a sleep in, because Wednesday's my sleep in day. A phone conversation to yourself to work out and see what's happening today and whatnot. Then the
yeah,
generally after like a week or going into releases, it's like a lot of pre-orders, so working out exactly what I need to order, what I need to order now, what needs to come in, look at reprints. Japanese One Piece is a good example of that. It's very, what's the word, it's not really set, it's very agile, and the price of this could be this one day, then you've obviously got your
volatile, yeah,
exchange rates, everything else that comes with it.
sure.
So that was that, and then I've got 53 cards to prepare for BGS. That's one of the services that I provide, like PSA submissions, BGS submissions. So preparing those cards, adding those cards in, whatnot. But it's like day to day is just so different in every day. There's no one day that's the same. There'll be like one day that's a lot of shipping and packing and doing all of that, and waiting for Ollie to come in to do most of the packing, reorganizing the shelves. After every day of stream, it's like coming in, empty my bin. So I have a bin. I don't try and put my rubbish on the floor, because I know from a time perspective, I'd rather clean up be 10 minutes in the morning rather than half an hour picking up wrappers and code cards and stuff that's everywhere. So Compaction that, generally jump in the bin, get into the bin and compact everything and put it away. So a lot of clean up, just clean up all the stock. So making sure that all the boxes look nice in the mornings, and then at that stage I probably know what I need to order, or check my messages. Generally from yourself, be like, okay, well, the reprint of this is happening, and this is the price of the case. You want one? Like, yeah, give me 10.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
so every day is different. It's a lot of self checking and a lot of mental checks. Nothing's really written down anywhere. It's like nothing's triggering me to go, okay, Cam, you've got 100 top loaders left. You go through a couple of hundred a night. What are you going to do? So those things, and orders through different suppliers at different stages, and everything else. So the days are just, you just never know what's going to happen on the day until the day before. And the only things that are really set in stone is like day of stream and then postage. That's probably about it. So
Well, like you said, there's like you said day off, but there isn't really a day off when you run your own business, and especially when you're busy.
Kevin's just asked the balance of the work and family. So the work and family side of things is the time in the
Yeah,
morning is for me and the kids, and then the time in the afternoon after I pick them up is time for me and the kids. So everything
yeah,
will be generally prepped before I go live. So I've got I pick Nala up at 10 to 3 throughout every day, and then in between 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock, that's like family time where I'll sit down with Ryan and Nala and have do something with them. Go for a walk to go and pick them up, then come back and I walk. And that hour walk, the quality time that we get away from one devices and two any distractions is probably the best hour that I can get from the family. So it's just making sure that I make the most of that. And then obviously not working a full time day job, taking Nala to swimming lessons and those sorts of things, just like activities outside of that. And if I need to, I can still work from my phone. So it doesn't make
yeah,
it
nice.
impossible to work. I can work from anywhere, essentially
Yeah.
outside of stream, that is. But
I think yeah, it's adjusting to being like in a 9 to 5 to having to sort of have no like schedule in terms of work. Like I know that firsthand. Like whenever there's something that needs to be done, I do it because the more I do today, the less I got to sort of do tomorrow. Or like it's something one less thing to do tomorrow. So I try to stay on top of things as best I can. So, but yeah, I'm sure you've experienced that firsthand yourself now.
it's just like
Yeah.
adjusting the thing. Same with your books. Like we'll get to 0 and then it'll be like, you got 100 and something things to reconcile. I'm like, when did that happen? 100
Happens
transactions
quick.
to get all your invoices and your payment details, all. But it's just like keeping on top of it to make it less overwhelming. And it's the same with PSA and
100%.
BGS. Like it's
Yeah.
doing it as it comes in, not all at once. Because if you do it all at once, you've lost a day.
Yeah, I used to do that, man. I used to leave it to the end of the month and like spend all day doing it. I'm like, nah. And I just end up staying on top of it every day now, and it's sort of already done. I don't have to dread the day that I'm doing
Yeah.
paperwork. So, we're gonna finish off. We've got a few more things to get through, but I promise we're getting close to the end, mate. You've done well to hang in there this far. But you just want to know a bit more about where you see Dallyrips like heading in the future. So just give us a bit of a spiel on where you see the business heading over the next couple of years, or what plans have you got for the business?
Jeez, yeah. So the first birthday, so the first anniversary, I'm doing a 24-hour stream. So that's
Yes.
probably Queensland
Lucky
random. I'm
that.
not sure about moving to Queensland. Not bad though.
Mm.
So the 24-hour side of things would probably be ish. Like it really depends. Like the 24-hour stream for me is going to be a bit of a test to see like what I know it's going to be a special event, and there'll be a lot of more people probably watching at that event than anything else. But being like one of the first ones in Oz to do that, but doing it for me personally. So I think for me, and what my plan is for like my secondary account, because we did sports product as well this year with AFL and AFL Select, is to try and make that secondary account a like a sports account or like a sub account. Because one thing we've probably learnt with what Dallyrips has become now is, a lot of people don't mind bits and pieces of everything, but if you do like a big clump of one thing that's quite niche, and sports cards pretty niche, it's only available for a certain period, that you can kind of dilute your audience away from it or divert them away from what this is. So for me, the focus is going to be more around being better at my craft and the craft of being Pokemon, Disney, Pixar, Marvel, and One Piece, and focus on those areas. Probably more so like Pokemon and One Piece. So
Yep.
the big thing for me in One Piece and for Pokemon, because I didn't know any of the names, or didn't know many of the names from both of those TCGs, especially One Piece. I had no idea what One Piece was at the start of this year, and now nearly
Yeah,
finished
now you're a
anime
pro.
and know most of them. Still get stuck
Yeah,
in certain characters, or you get stuck with what Luffy calls a character, and Luffy's like he just gives everyone nicknames. Like focus on getting good at that side of things and providing knowledge. So develop the knowledge side of things of the character, provide, not like fun facts or, little things that, some people might find interesting. And for example, it's like the Clobberpuss from not Stellar Crown, Paradise Dragona, and being the same artist as the
yeah,
Bubble Mew, and everyone resonates really well with the Bubble Mew. I'm like, okay,
yeah,
we can see that. So
yeah.
those little things, the
Little
Magneton being the
gems.
same artist
Oh,
as Giratina and Magikarp, you know.
yeah,
So that would be like focus
yeah,
on the knowledge base of TCG and knowing characters, knowing your Pokemon, and being able to provide like a really good service. If someone be able to or ask a question in chat, you'd be like, all right, I can give them that answer because I'll know exactly, or give
yeah,
them like a tongue-in-cheek comment like, oh, who's your favorite character from One Piece? Usopp, of course, everyone loves Usopp. But like
yeah,
focusing on that part for this channel, but the other channel will be more like special events. So have someone else that would open AFL product or sports product or other product that may just do like one break and have like events for that one, make it like an events type channel.
yeah,
I think long term, I would love to like have more people involved with the company itself and be able to provide like more days of being available and having the stock available. Like have people that would work with us to then open product, longer than 7 hours, because there will come a point in time where I'll just be so burnt out or get to the point where it just gets too busy that I'll just be like, well, I can't.
yeah,
Either one, I'll stop enjoying it, or two, we'll just burn out and not have the time to do
yeah,
other things. So like diversifying the breaking scene into that sense, and look at diversifying outside of TikTok when the integration becomes better between TikTok and
yeah.
Twitch
Other
and like
platforms. Yeah,
YouTube and those sorts of things. Well, as soon as you go into YouTube and like Facebook live stream, then your music has to be quite like DMCA, like just cannot be any
yeah,
copyright type music. And the response from the community from TikTok when I've tried to do it has been like, oh, this is a bit ordinary. And I think those sort
yeah.
of things
Takes away a
makes a
bit.
huge difference. But
Yeah,
I think moving in
yeah,
towards that, and then obviously build everything outside of the stream. So like look at diversifying the way that I sell product, not just from the website, but like eBay and everything else as well.
yeah,
So there's a lot of big plans that are currently in that brainstorm type phase, but nothing really set in stone as like this is my end goal for the channel. Basically just want to enjoy what I'm doing, and currently what I'm doing, I'm really enjoying it. I don't feel like
nice.
um I don't feel like I'm diverting too far from that. And ever since I've started doing it full time, I still enjoy it. So it'll just be kind of adjusting with the market and being agile with the market, because we don't know what the market's going to be in a couple of years
Yeah, yeah.
time. Like
We do
Pokemon could
with
do
that.
the same as what it did pre-COVID and just be completely
Yeah,
gone, or they might
yeah,
have a couple of Shrouded Fable sets which come out in a row, and it's like, well, no one wants to open Shrouded Fable, so
I think that's the advantage of being a bit diverse. If Pokemon's a bit quiet, well, then you got your One Piece or you got your Marvel might come out, or just I think that's one benefit. Obviously, there's pros and cons with everything, but nah, it's good. All right. Well, I think we got a few questions from a couple of people from my community, and I think one from yours. So we'll just quickly get through that now. So Shannon wanted to know, how do you navigate or stand out in such a saturated space?
being 6'9" probably helps. Being a bit taller, stand over everyone else, stand out.
For the average person, mate.
This is a good question. I think for me personally, when I started, it was a little bit less saturated from the TikTok side of things as well. And there's certainly been a lot of people that have come and gone. In terms of like starting off, and I think we've touched on a couple of times, is like being consistent is like such a huge and underrated part of what we do. And I think a lot of people might be like somewhat naive. I don't know. I was naive when I first started, and what it would take to be a quote successful breaker or being able to do it full time. That it does take a lot of work as well, and it's not just like the stream side; it's everything else that comes outside of it. So I think in terms of like standing out in front of, in a crowd full of many, is being the one that's there all the time. People will recognize you over time, and it comes back to the brand conversation. If they keep seeing me, and start watching me longer and longer and longer and longer, then eventually either they're going to be someone within the community that's going to purchase product, or it could work in many ways. But I think it's just that consistency in being able to stand out, because a lot of people, whilst they'll look at the end goal and be like, I want to get there now, they don't see that middle part. The middle part is a lot more important than what the end part is, if that makes sense. So consistency is number one.
I think people getting invested in your story or your life is another thing too. So if you've got like something outside of just breaking cards, like you got your family or you got your thing with your hats, like there's something just to look forward to, or like when the next man going to be pulled and what hats you're going to wear next, like sort of getting invested just in a little example there. I think that's a big one as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know what comes through chat either. What's going to happen today?
Right. We got the second question from Benjamin. What size following do you need to start? And I guess we'll roll out this to TikTok.
1,000. Well, you don't need 1,000 followers, and it's probably come back to another mistake a lot of people make, is when they do start up their TikTok account. You can always change it midway through, but people start off with like personal accounts, and then TikTok will recognize that you're trying to sell product, and your account will be flagged for selling product when you're not set up as a business. So if you're like, for people that are just doing battles on like TikTok, and you'll probably see it from time to time, like I don't believe that they need to be set up as a business, even though they get gifts and donations from people all the time. But I think setting up as a business, you need to have 1,000 followers. If you're not set up as a business, you need 500 followers. But 500 followers is for non-business activity. Business activity requires, well, when you are a business account, it's 1,000 followers. So my secondary account's like at 660 or not quite 700. So I won't be able to go live on that account until it's 1,000. But if I choose to go live and change it from a business to a personal account, and then do what I do on my business account on my personal account, then instantly TikTok will recognize that. They'll see that I'm selling products. They don't like that. They want me to be kosher, because obviously they've got all their gateways that people need to go through. And then I'll stop getting pushed through the FYP. I'll stop getting pushed through everything else, and no one will be able to see my live. And I'll probably have 2 or 3 viewers of the community from Discord.
Yeah, cool. Okay, last question from the viewers or from the community. You got Kevin. We kind of touched on this before, but we can go over it again quickly. Did you start with Pokemon and grow from there, or what strategy did you decide to begin with?
So Pokemon was the first one, and it was predominantly English, and then I did a little bit of Korean, and then a little bit of Japanese. So Korean 151 was like one of my first somewhat niches, I would say. I don't think there was many people doing it at that time or having it as accessible. Now I kind of feel like Korean's like gone a bit downhill. So Japanese product at the time was a lot harder to access or get into, because the Japanese market, or Japanese Pokemon market, was crazy. Like, we're talking, I think you probably remember this as well, when you're paying for a Shiny Treasure booster box for $140, and now you're paying anywhere between $60 and $80 for a booster box. It's like, it's non-comparable. So the Japanese side of things was a little bit quieter at that stage, and then we went through this massive reprint. The Japanese 151 reprint was huge. I mean, look at the cases that you got behind you with all the boxes. So that was diversifying into that, and then Kel and Trav probably 2 moderators were saying about One Piece and saying that I should get it. I was like, no, I'm not keen on it. One, I don't know who the characters are. Like for me personally, I was like, I don't know. Hadn't started watching the anime yet. There's a few people in the community that are like, if you start opening One Piece, I'm just going to turn you off and whatnot. Like tongue in cheek type comments, wasn't like anything serious.
They're probably buying it now.
Yeah.
But like moving into One Piece, that was a bit of a big step and diversifying outside of what I was doing. There wasn't at that time a lot of people that were doing One Piece, and for me, it was like I'm just gonna try and binge watch as much as I can, try and learn the learn the characters and get a bit more of a feel for it. And now I feel like it's almost like a probably 70-30 split. 70% of people open up Pokemon, 30% of the people just open up One Piece or other TCGs. Like Marvel's probably been like one of those bigger success stories that have at an early time we're like, we're not sure if we're going to invest in this, and then invest in it, and it turns out to be probably one of my favorite things to open because the cards are just so cool. Same with like Disney. Disney's the same. Diversifying into that Mirrorverse, which was very accessible for a lot of people because it was a cheaper set. Disney 100 was like super expensive, then got cheaper again. And then Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball's been like interesting. Some of the like when FBO 1 was in its peak, it was doing really well. Then FBO 2 came out, and I don't know, kind of dipped off after that. I don't think I'll be doing Dragon Ball after this. Slot's gone now, but definitely diversifying outside and being comfortable, but whilst also not trying to dilute your audience too much to a point where no one wants to watch it because you're opening something that no one has any interest. Most people don't have interest in, which is a lot of niche TCGs. Like Magic the Gathering is like a really good example of that. Some of the collaborations that they got coming next year, as with Final Fantasy and Marvel, like.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna
Maybe
be
the
massive.
chance for Marvel, but like Final Fantasy, a lot of people that may play the game might resonate with it. But
I think just knowing trends though. I think the trends is a big one, and even figuring out what products actually out there we're releasing, because there's so many these days. Like you can easily miss a release or miss something, and it can be like sort of hot one day and not the next. So like jumping on trends, I find obviously important, even with what I do. Like having that product when people actually want it is a big thing. So as you said with Dragon Ball, like hot one day, not the next. It happens all the time with trading cards. So
Lacana's the same as well, isn't it? That was like really, really, really hot, and then it kind of just dropped after that.
I think it just depends on like your community and what they like, and trying to figure out new products or new things that they'll be interested in, I guess. So I think you've done a good job of that, and obviously it shows in the results. So no, definitely. I think it's good and bad being diverse, but like you said, you don't want to go too far out of the sort of genre that you're doing. In my opinion, you want to go like Magic or Flesh and Blood, and then go to Disney. Doesn't really mix well together. So
no. Well, I know Daryl will be disappointed. We're not going to do Yu-Gi-Oh or Digimon or Flesh and Blood.
All right, well, look, I think that just about wraps it up. Thanks a lot for coming on. But just, I think, any last words of advice, for someone looking to follow in your footsteps just before we go?
Yeah, basically, just take every step as it comes would be the big one. Never set your expectations too high, and then I think it comes with everything. Is just trying to mold into something that you are making it authentic, making it good quality content, and then setting it up right from the start. It goes to the analogy of measure twice, cut once. So you want to make sure that everything is kosher, everything is good. Because if you are running a business and you're saying you're not running as a business, but you're selling cards actively, you're going to find yourselves in a heap of hot water. So that would probably be my parting words: is just be legitimate and be yourself. And especially in the content creator side of things, find your niche and run with it. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes happen all the time. I've made plenty of mistakes. But you learn from those mistakes, and then you adjust in a lot of different things. And that's the big thing. If you're ever not trying to improve, or if you're ever not trying to adjust, then that to me signifies that I'm not growing anymore. If I'm not looking to improve anymore, I'm happy with the status quo and not looking to basically build on what we're building at the moment. So continuous improvement
Yeah.
is a huge thing. So
For sure, for sure. All right, man. Well, I'm going to leave all your links to get to see where you are, your TikTok links and other socials, so everyone can check out Cam. But just want to tell everyone quickly where to find you.
yeah, so you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Dallyrips.
Cool, cool. I'll leave that in the description. And yeah, so thanks for coming on, Cam. Appreciate your time as always. Some real good nuggets of wisdom there for anyone that wants to start in breaking, or you might be struggling, or trying to find that extra edge to progress and grow. So appreciate you coming on and sharing what you have. And yeah, if anyone liked this video, please remember to like, subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. That really helps me push through to make more content. So yeah, appreciate that, Cam. I'm sure we'll speak again soon. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks, Charlie.